right, Jane. So you went on a Twitter storm. First off, I know you said that Dalton Schultz is definitely getting traded, or at least that's what Twitter made me believe.
For 2 first-round picks, that's right. For 2 first-rounders.
We're kidding, Jane. Don't worry. I'm not actually saying that. That's what Twitter was freaking out about.
Temper that.
Yes.
People are going to be in their cars right now, and next thing I know, I'm going to get at James Slater says Dalton Schultz getting traded. I don't need that in my life.
I know. I'm kidding. Do you want to just quickly clear that up? Why people freaking out over that today?
Yeah. So a lot of people don't know the difference between exclusive and non-exclusive franchise tag, which is fair. I mean, when I started, in the business and covering the league and free agency, I wasn't completely clear on it either. But basically what it is you get to use this costly tag, which means that he'll be guaranteed the 10.8 because they used it. But if a team wants to negotiate with Dalton Schultz, they can come to the table and say, we are offering you this. And then the Cowboys have the first right of refusal. In other words, they can match the offer, or they can say, we're not willing to pay that. But as a result, that team then has to give up 2 first-round picks. And so the reason why teams, you saw, 2 other teams in the league do that? You saw, what was it?
With tight ends, you mean?
Miami did Gesicki. Yeah, Gesicki and who's the other one?
Yeah, I can't remember who the other one was. There's
Njoku, was that?
Oh, yeah. Cleveland did it with Njoku.
Yeah. So the tight end market, in other words, it's fairly thin this year in terms of guys that can make an immediate impact. And quite frankly, it's not that I didn't think that Dalton Schultz was reliable or a consistent receiving threat for Dak, but just at Combine, the way that people in that organization talked about him from front office to the coaches, it was pretty wild to me. And I know when I posited the possibility of it last week on NFL Network, people thought I was crazy. I think you even thought I was crazy, Bobby. Remember walking down the hall?
I didn't think you were crazy.
I said real quick, hey, Bobby, just before I go on set, quick question. It's 10-8, isn't it? And you're like, yeah, but they're not going to do that.
I did. And look, and you were the one who said, and I said, they're not going to do that. And I was like, they're not expecting it, which is what I said on the air. I said, Dalton's people didn't expect it. Like they weren't anticipating that was going to happen. And then to your credit, you said, I don't think, and I was like, okay, well, Jane always knows before anybody else does.
But
and so that's a possibility.
Wrong. I'll give that to you. You're rarely wrong. That's why I kind of threw it out. I was like, look, to be fair, it was getting kicked around at the time. They hadn't made up their mind. But my point in saying that, to use that costly franchise tag tells you how they perceive his value. And yeah, there's tight ends that you can get in sort of the mid rounds. But if you are in a win now mentality, if you've got a bunch of extra picks, there are teams that might be interested in do that. So the Cowboys, it's my understanding, have not engaged with his agent in long-term negotiations yet, and that's why. In other words, they're trying to see what they can get for certain players of value. So I was just explaining that, but everyone thought I was crazy suggesting that the Cowboys wanted 2 first-round picks for Dalton. No. The non-exclusive franchise tag guarantees you the 2 first-round picks if the team decides not to match it. That holds the rights to that player.
It was fun watching Jane clap back on Twitter today. Like, hey, just hold off. I'm not actually saying this is going to happen here, but I had to let the folks know and clarify what was going on.
I've kind of stayed off Twitter for a while. And today, it's funny because some days I get beat because I'm not on there, but it's just a toxic cesspool. And I think, Bobby, as part of your Mama Bear mentorship, I've told you not to engage because you can never clearly state your point in 140 characters. Yeah, I get it. But I've been mischaracterized in the news in the past that's caused more headaches than I necessarily care to deal with because of trying to engage with people on Twitter in 140 characters. So I typically don't, but, it's off season. I had some time this afternoon and, I decided to engage with a few fans, but it was like that Simpsons meme. You sort of walk in, you're like, doo-doo-doo, and I'm out. That's kind of how I felt about Twitter today.
So with Dalton Schultz, now under the tag and, of course, potentially working toward a long-term deal at some point in the future, are they becoming a little bit more clear on the Michael Gallup front with respect to his contract and where we are with him coming back to this team for the Cowboys?
Yeah, it's my understanding that deal is really close to getting done, and we could hear some information on that soon. And again, I'm not surprised. Look, full disclosure, I've said this on the air at NFL Network on Good Morning Football, and I got Kay Adams to join me. I've been a president of Michael Gallup's fan club since his rookie season. I used to do a show at House of Blues, and he was one of our guests. And I tell the story that when I bring players to do these sit-downs, I want people to leave and like them. It's not like basketball where you can identify the face with the jersey and the name, right? And there's only, 11 guys on the court. At a football field, it's really hard to connect with these guys that have helmets on and jerseys. But Michael Gallup talked so much about his upbringing in Georgia, and he had this horse named Ed, and a buddy of mine who came to the show was like a total music geek, not really into football. When Michael Gallup scored one of his first touchdowns, he yelled, "That one's for Ed," sent me a text. And so my point is he was just so likable, and he's so likable in the locker room, and he's probably quieter than what you're used to from a wide receiver. But if you look at him collectively over the years, he's gotten better and better. And, it's unfortunate. I hated it for him that he got injured this year in a contract season. But I got the sense that he wasn't a guy that was going to go out there on the open market and demand max value, right? I got the sense that he really liked being in Dallas, really connected with the locker room and with Dak. And I don't know what those numbers are going to be. I wouldn't be shocked if we're somewhere around the 10 to 11 range. But I got the sense that they were likely going to get a deal done with him. So it's my understanding that one's pretty close, and we should hear some news on that one pretty soon.